Here we go again. This podcast is still dealing with Colorado Middle School Social Studies Standard 2D. Students should be able to explain the role and the importance of the Constitution. Right now, we are focusing on the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is or are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. They were created as an attempt at compromise between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. This places strict limits on how the government can use its power over the people. Now, the First Amendment is often referred to as freedom of expression. Congress cannot make any laws about your religion or stop you from practicing your religion or keep you from saying whatever you want or publishing whatever you want, like a newspaper or a book. And Congress can't stop you from meeting peacefully for a demonstration to ask the government to change something. Now, the next couple of amendments have to do with protecting you against the abuses of power. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms and to create state militias. Congress can't stop people from having and carrying weapons because we need to be able to defend ourselves. The Third Amendment is the No Soldiers in the Home Amendment, no quartering. You don't have to let soldiers live in your house, except if there's a war, and even then, only if Congress has passed a law about it. The Fourth Amendment says no unreasonable searches or seizures. Nobody can search your body or your house or your papers and things unless they can prove to a judge that they have a good reason to think you have committed a crime. So 2, 3, and 4 all have to do with protecting you from abuses of power. The next couple have to do with protecting people who are accused of committing a crime. Yes, even those people who are accused of committing a crime have rights. The Fifth Amendment says you have the right to the due process of law. You can't be tried for any serious crime without a grand jury meeting to first decide whether there's enough evidence for a trial. And if the jury decides you are innocent, the government can't try you again with another jury. You don't have to say anything at your trial. You can't be killed or put in jail or fined unless you are convicted of a crime by a jury. And the government can't take away your house or your farm or anything that is yours unless the government pays for it. The Sixth Amendment says you have the right to a trial by jury and a lawyer in criminal cases. If you're arrested, you have a right to have your trial quickly, and the government can't keep you in jail without trying you. The trial has to be public, so everyone knows what is happening. The case has to be decided by a jury of ordinary people from your area. You have the right to know what you are accused of, to see and hear the people who are witnesses against you, to have the government help you get witnesses on your side, and you have the right to a lawyer to help you. The Seventh Amendment says you have the right to a trial by jury in civil cases. You also have the right to a jury when a civil case, a law case between two people rather than between you and government. The Eighth Amendment says no cruel or unusual punishments. The government can't make you pay more than is reasonable in bail or in fines, and the government can't order you to have cruel or unusual punishments like torture, even if you are convicted of a crime. Now, the last two amendments have to do with protecting other rights. You have more than just the rights listed in the Bill of Rights. Just because these are the rights that are listed in the Constitution doesn't mean that you don't have other rights too. And the 10th Amendment says that the powers not given to the national government belong to the individual states or the people. Anything that the Constitution doesn't say about what Congress can do should be left up to the states or the people. Now, from here on out, we're going to focus a little bit more in depth on the First Amendment rights. The First Amendment is very, very important. This allows for the open exchange of ideas. This is the foundation of American society. Without these freedoms, the rest of the Constitution would be meaningless. First, we start with the freedom of religion. This is based on the concept of the separation of the church and the state. Government may not favor one religion over another. Government may not treat people differently because of their religion. Next, we have the freedom of speech, which means you can say what is on your mind without the fear of punishment. Now, there are limits to free speech. You may not harm others. You may not yell fire in a crowd if there really isn't a fire. You may not slander someone, tell lies just to damage a person's reputation. You may not commit treason, which is telling secrets about the government in order to damage the government. Now, there are extensions of free speech. They now include art and music and clothing. And actually, this free speech has come to be known as freedom of expression. Next, we have the freedom of the press. Now, this originally included books, newspapers, and magazines. Today, it includes radio, television, computer networks. The press cannot be banned. This helps to create and helps us understand a wide variety of points of view. Again, there are limits to free press. You may not harm others. You may not commit libel, which is print lies to damage a person's reputation. Next, we have the freedom of assembly. The freedom of assembly allows people to join and meet in groups to discuss ideas. This gives us the right to belong to any organization. There are limits. These meetings must be peaceful, like parades, political rallies, celebrations. And the government can determine where and when an assembly may take place. Next, we have the freedom to petition the government. This allows people the right to express their ideas to the government. This is an opportunity to change people's minds and laws. Now, again, we've talked about some limits. There are limits to your freedoms. You may not break the law. Your actions may not be disorderly conduct. You may not disturb the peace. You must balance the rights of others. In other words, your freedoms may not impinge on the freedoms of others. It is the rights of the community that must come first. There you have it, the Bill of Rights, more specifically focusing on the First Amendment and the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment. Again, this represents an opportunity to explain the role and importance of the Constitution. Colorado Social Studies Standard Civics 2D for middle school.